Ya, selamat pagi dan selamat datang kepada seluruh partisipan dari webinar kita hari ini yang bertajuk 75-2075, Building Stronger Partnership in the Decade of Action, bersama saya David Manalu sebagai pembawa acara Anda. Adalah sebuah peringatan hari ini yang bertujuan untuk melihat kembali pencapaian yang telah ada dan yang berlangsung atau yang akan dilakukan ke depan selama 75 tahun oleh UN sebagai badan dunia dan UNGC atau IGCN sebagai perwakilannya di Indonesia yang juga selama 20 tahun belakang ini dan di ulang tahun Indonesia yang ke-75 yang kesemuanya bertepatan jatuh pada tahun ini yaitu tahun 2020. Untuk itu, sebagai bukti komitmen kami sebagai badan dunia terhadap keberlanjutan, maka perlu ada sebuah momentum untuk melihat dan memikirkan langkah yang sudah diambil, serta menyusun kembali strategi ke depan dalam sebuah framework kebersamaan atau partnership. Dalam acara webinar ini, kita akan mendengarkan dan belajar banyak bersama bagaimana kerjasama antara government, business, atau filantropi, media, atau civil society organization, akademisi, dan think tank itu dapat terwujud. Dan Bapak dan Ibu yang terhormat, di beberapa jam ke depan kita akan belajar banyak dari para pakar tentang berbagai hal. Di antaranya kita akan menyaksikan 3 panel yang akan berlangsung dan masing-masing mempunyai poin menarik yang bisa kita belajar, yaitu yang pertama adalah Scaling Up Business Impact for Decade of Action. Di panel ini kita akan berbicara tentang bagaimana meningkatkan dampak bisnis melalui aksi nyata dalam masa 10 tahun, mulai dari tahun ini sampai 2030 nanti. Yang kedua adalah panel yang bertajuk Urgent Action to Combat Climate Change, yang akan membahas tentang perubahan iklim yang memberikan dampak negatif yang dahsyat bagi keberlangsungan kita, baik secara ekonomi, sosial, resiko, dan musnahnya keragaman hayati serta kehidupan. Inclusive Social Recovery membahas bagaimana dampak COVID-19 yang sangat merusak berbagai sendi, bukan hanya dari berbagai kesehatan, namun juga di berbagai bidang sosial, terutama kaum perempuan yang bekerja di sektor informal. Dan juga tidak kalah penting adalah launching buku yang merupakan suatu laporan tentang kasus-kasus yang menggambarkan bagaimana para anggota IGCN dapat mengimplementasikan 10 prinsip UNGC serta SDG Ambition Initiative Launching Program. Pada kesempatan ini kami juga mengucapkan terima kasih kepada yang terhormat Bapak Kartika Wirjoatmojo, Wakil Menteri BUMN, yang akan mewakili Bapak Erick Thohir dari Kementerian BUMN dan juga Ketua Tim Pemulihan Ekonomi Nasional. And also on this opportunity, I would like to extend our warmest Indonesian welcome to all the leaders, colleagues who join us this event as a speaker or a participant, especially to Ms. Sanda Ojiambo, the CEO and Executive Director, Global Compact, Valerie, Julliand, UN Resident Coordinator in Indonesia, and all the panelists, juga kepada media partner kami dari Media Group News, Metro TV, Media Indonesia, dan Media.com.id. IGCN atau Indonesian Global Compact sebagai perpanjangan tangan UNGC di Indonesia sejak tahun 2006 telah berkiprah dalam menjalankan fungsinya, terutama menjadi akselerator dalam kerjasama antar lembaga serta menjalankan seluruh inisiatif yang ada. Berdasarkan 10 prinsip UNGC sampai pencapaian SDG atau Sustainable Development Goals yang tertuang dalam 17 pencapaian melalui working group yang dibentuk berisikan anggota IGCN itu sendiri. Namun terhambat dikarenakan oleh pandemik dan diikuti oleh krisis global yang juga mempengaruhi laju perekonomian secara keseluruhan. Lalu bagaimana sikap dan pandangan IGCN terhadap situasi sekarang ini, serta strategi apa yang akan dilakukan dalam menghadapi situasi ini ke depan? Kita akan mendengarkan paparan singkat dan sambutan dan juga opening remarks dari tuan rumah acara ini sekaligus Presiden Indonesian Global Compact Network yang terhormat Bapak YW Junardy. Kepada Bapak Junardy kami persilakan.
Yang saya hormati Ms. Sanda Ojiambo, CEO and Executive Directors of United Nations Global Compact. Excellencies Valerie, Julliand, United Nations President Coordinator in Indonesia. Yang saya hormati Bapak Kartika Wirjoatmojo, Wakil Menteri BUMN, Vice Minister of State-Owned Enterprises. Ibu dan Bapak-Bapak sekalian, para panelis dan moderator yang luar biasa, hadirin sekalian yang saya hormati, selamat pagi dan salam sehat untuk semuanya dimanapun Anda berada. Karena acara ini juga dihadiri oleh peserta dari mancanegara, allow me to extend our warm welcome to all of you for attending this forum. Have a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Pertama, saya ingin menyampaikan apresiasi dan terima kasih atas partisipasi dan kehadiran Ibu dan Bapak dalam forum yang mengambil tema Building Stronger Partnership in a Decade of Action. Forum ini diselenggarakan bersama oleh IGCN dan lembaga PBB di Indonesia yang sekaligus dalam rangka memperingati 75 tahun kemerdekaan Republik Indonesia, 75 tahun berdirinya PBB, dan 20 tahun United Nations Global Compact. Tahun yang istimewa, pada poster kami dituliskan angka 75-20-75. Kami memperoleh kehormatan dan terima kasih atas kehadiran dari pembicara kunci, Ibu Sanda Ojiambo, Ibu Valerie Julliand, dan Bapak Kartika Wiryaatmojo. Meskipun secara virtual karena pandemi COVID-19, saya percaya tidak mengurangi makna dan pentingnya tema yang akan kita bahas bersama. Ibu dan Bapak sekalian, suka tidak suka, pandemi COVID-19 telah memporak-porandakan dunia. Kita masih terperangah mengalami perubahan yang begitu drastis. Hanya dalam beberapa bulan saja, badai COVID melanda seluruh masyarakat dan menimbulkan krisis kesehatan, lalu menggoncang sektor ekonomi dan sosial. Studi ILO menyebutkan bahwa 68% dari perusahaan yang disurvei menyatakan mengalami disrupsi usaha. 65%-nya menghentikan sementara kegiatan operasional, dan 3% terpaksa menutup usahanya untuk seterusnya. Begitu juga data resmi dari Ketenagakerjaan, jumlah pekerja yang kena layoff selama PSBB kuartal ketiga ada 3,5 juta orang, dan diprediksi jumlah pengangguran meningkat menjadi 10 juta pada akhir tahun ini. Kita menyadari bahwa tahun ini kita memperingati 75 tahun Republik Indonesia dan United Nations, bukan dengan gegap gempita dan sorak-sorai, tapi dengan rasa prihatin dan tekad untuk berjuang melawan COVID-19. Bukan dengan egoisme, justru dengan kesadaran dan aksi konkret, berkolaborasi untuk bangkit dari keterpurukan serta meningkatkan upaya untuk mencapai agenda 2030. Bagi dunia bisnis, ini adalah momentum untuk pemulihan, recovery. Dengan melakukan transformasi bisnis, saatnya adalah untuk menelah ulang model-model bisnis, merumuskan strategi dan operasional dalam new normal, mengadopsi teknologi digital, mengembangkan solusi baru yang inovatif, kompetitif, dan berorientasi kepada industri 4.0. Sementara itu, dunia bisnis juga secara proaktif berkolaborasi, memobilisasi bantuan APD untuk kebutuhan rumah sakit dan masyarakat. IGCN misalnya juga bekerjasama dengan Dr. Share menggalang bantuan terutama dari para anggota IGCN berbagai kebutuhan APD untuk disalurkan ke lebih 300 rumah sakit di daerah-daerah terluar dan terpencil. Pemerintah juga telah menerbitkan berbagai kebijakan dan insentif untuk pemulihan ekonomi secara nasional, serta bantuan jaringan sosial bagi masyarakat miskin dan pekerja penganggur korban PHK. Dalam hal ini nanti Pak Kartika Wiryaatmojo, Wakil Menteri BUMN, akan mengulas lebih jauh. Ibu Bapak sekalian yang saya hormati, pada peringatan 75 tahun PBB, Sekjen PBB Antonio Guterres menyatakan, after 4 years, we are not on track to deliver on SDGs. Moving forward, collaboration with business is crucial when it comes to the fighting climate change and meeting the agenda 2030. Untuk mengejar ketertinggalan diperlukan ambitious goals and setting up. Oleh karena itu, IGCN ikut meluncurkan program United Nations Global Compact yang disebut Global Impact Initiative atau GII di Indonesia. Antara lain SDG Ambition, Target Gender Equality, dan Ambition 1.5 Degree Target. Inisiatif ini merupakan langkah nyata untuk mengarusutamakan 10 Principles of United Nations Global Compact ke dalam strategi dan kegiatan operasional bisnis. 10 prinsipal United Nations Global Compact mencakup penghormatan kepada HAM, ketenagakerjaan, lingkungan, dan anti korupsi, di mana semua anggota United Nations Global Compact telah memberikan komitmennya. Maka pada kesempatan ini saya ingin menghimbau dunia bisnis di Indonesia melalui Kadin, Apindo, dan semua asosiasi untuk mendukung inisiatif Global Impact Initiative ini. Ke depan, IGCN juga akan scale up the training program melalui Global Compact Academy sebagai upaya meningkatkan kegiatan yang telah dilakukan selama ini, antara lain United Nations Global Compact, Principles on Business and Human Rights, Target Gender Equality, Science-Based Target, berbagai guidance dan management tool yang bermanfaat untuk mendukung kegiatan bisnis dalam upayanya menjadi responsible business yang berkelanjutan sekaligus mendukung tercapainya SDG di Indonesia. Ibu dan Bapak sekalian, pandemi COVID-19 menyadarkan kita untuk mengubah pola hidup yang sehat dan berwawasan lingkungan sejalan dengan pertumbuhan ekonomi serta kesejahteraan dan keadilan sosial. Kembali pada tema utama pada forum ini, pandemi COVID-19 ini juga meningkatkan kesadaran semua pihak yang berkepentingan, negara, dunia, usaha, LSM, akademisi, dan masyarakat internasional akan pentingnya meningkatkan kolaborasi di semua bidang dalam mengatasi tantangan global. Sekali lagi, terima kasih atas dukungan semua pihak atas terselenggaranya forum ini. Pada kesempatan ini, saya juga ingin menyampaikan terima kasih atas dukungan Media Group, Metro TV, Media Indonesia, dan Medcom ID untuk forum ini. Selamat mengikuti, semoga bermanfaat buat semuanya. Terima kasih.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Jun untuk kata sambutannya. Terima kasih. Bapak dan Ibu, sejak berdirinya 20 tahun yang lalu sebagai badan yang resmi dibentuk oleh Sekjen PBB pada masa itu, yaitu Bapak Kofi Annan, yang beranggotakan private sector, civil society organization, serta akademia untuk membantu pemerintah lokal dalam mempercepat pencapaian MDGs pada waktu itu dan sekarang adalah SDGs. United Nations Global Compact telah melakukan banyak hal, memberikan arahan dan memulai inisiatif secara global kepada seluruh local partner agar dapat bekerja sama dengan pemerintah, pihak swasta, para akademisi, dan badan-badan PBB lainnya, serta mengawal dan melahirkan report dan jurnal yang berguna bagi percepatan SDG di berbagai negara. Menandai 20 tahun kiprahnya, apakah yang menjadi isu saat ini dan harapan serta rencana ke depan dari UNGC apakah di dunia ini, terutama di Indonesia pada khususnya? Berikut ini kita akan mendengarkan sambutan khusus yang telah di-record sebelumnya. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the CEO and Executive Director dari UN Global Compact, Ms. Sanda Ojiambo.
Excellencies, business leaders, distinguished guests. Greetings from New York. I'm Sanda Ojiambo, the CEO and Executive Director of the United Nations Global Compact. And it is my pleasure to greet you all at today's event on building stronger partnerships in the decade of action. Let me begin by thanking the Global Compact Network in Indonesia for putting together this very timely regional event and to the UN country team for supporting it. In Indonesia and around the world, the mission of the UN Global Compact is to align business operations and strategies with 10 universal principles spanning human rights, labor, the environment, and anti-corruption. Since the adoption of the Sustainable Development Goals in 2015, we have also been challenging companies to take more ambitious action on the SDGs. And today, more than 11,000 companies and 3,000 non-business participants have signed on to support the 10 principles and to help advance the global goals. Ever since the Global Compact Network in Indonesia was launched in the year 2006, it has been a vital link in our chain of 69 local networks. The network engages with responsible companies across the country as they integrate the global goals and the 10 principles into their operations and their value chains. With a special focus on human rights, gender, oceans, and climate, as well as small and medium enterprises and supply chains, Global Compact Network Indonesia consistently raises the bar for business action on the SDGs. And while the world has made great strides towards some of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, progress on others has sadly stalled or even reversed. Income inequality continues to rise, systemic injustices based on race, ethnicity, and gender persist. Global hunger is increasing, and the climate is changing faster than many experts predicted. And now, COVID-19 has caused a humanitarian and economic crisis that threatens to push the global goals even further off track. I know that these challenges can feel overwhelming, and yet the current crisis presents an opportunity for businesses to transform themselves. The pandemic has shown us that business as usual is just not an option. But if we operate sustainably and in line with the global goals, we will recover better together, build resilience, and strengthen our ability to do business and to build markets. And one other thing is certain. As you'll be discussing today, partnerships are more important now more than ever. We will recover better only if we all work together. And this event is a good example of the type of collaboration that we need, with the involvement of our local network, the UN country team, the government, and the private sector. It has been an eventful year, to say the least. In 2020, we have marked both the 75th anniversary of the United Nations and the 20th anniversary of the UN Global Compact. And of course, it's been a year of global crisis resulting from the pandemic. But as we look forward to an inclusive recovery and momentum around the decade of action, I urge you to not just continue, but to accelerate your work on achieving the 2030 agenda. For now, I wish you a successful event, and I hope to be able to meet you soon in person. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Sanda Ojiambo, the CEO of UNGC. Ladies and gentlemen, the UN is marking its 75th anniversary at a time of a great disruption for the world, compounded by the unprecedented global health crisis with severe economic and social impacts. We will emerge stronger and better equipped to work together, or will distrust and isolation grow further? 2020 should be a year of dialogue, when we come together to discuss our priorities as a human family and how we can build a better future for all. Can we? Next, we're going to listen to another keynote speech that can give us some information on the current situation and how UN together with its strategic partner tackle the issue to ensure SDGs is on track and ready to face 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome UN Resident Coordinator in Indonesia, Ms. Valerie Julliand.
Thank you very much, and a pleasure to be with you all today. Your Excellency, Bapak Kartika Wirjoatmojo, Vice Minister of State-Owned Enterprises, Ibu Winnie, Special Staff for Synergy and Economic Affairs and Financing, Head of the National SDG Secretariat, Sanda Ojiambo, CEO and Executive Director of the UN Global Compact, Bapak Junardy, President of Indonesia Global Compact Network, Ibu Josephine Sationo, Executive Director, Indonesia Global Compact, all of you members of the Indonesia Global Compact Network, civil society organization, academia, change makers, and supporters of SDGs, fellow UN colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Selamat pagi. On behalf of the UN in Indonesia, I want to welcome you all to this joint celebration with the Indonesia Global Compact Network. As speakers have mentioned, this year is a momentous year. It is a momentous year because both the UN and Indonesia turned 75 and the UN Global Compact turned 20. But this year is also one of many fears, the fear of contracting the virus, a year of many tears for those who lost loved ones, who struggle with the disease or with the economic impact of the pandemic, and therefore a year of many changes. So in this context of dramatic changes and very complex challenges, from the climate crisis to COVID pandemic, the United Nations itself had to change, and we became more agile, more accountable. This is the spirit of the UN reform that the Secretary General has launched, with a view to continuing the support to the countries while remaining focused on the real problems of the real people. And this concept of the real problem of the real people, I think, this is what should be our priority. 2 decades ago, our late Secretary General Kofi Annan, you may remember, called on you business leaders to initiate a global compact of shared values and principles. And he said to give a human face to the global market. But what he said as well is that we cannot make globalization work for all. If we cannot make globalization work for all, in the end, it will work for none. And we have seen over the years how globalization has created magnificent opportunities, but has also deepened the inequalities, leaving so many people behind. So from its inception, the Global Compact of the United Nations has advanced the vision that when businesses unite, then they can be a powerful force for good. So in this time of uncertainty and crisis, this vision is even more relevant. Our current Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, said during the recent UN Global Compact Leaders Summit in June, where once do no harm was a common approach for the business community, today we are arriving at a new landscape of elevated expectations and responsibilities. Yes, elevated expectations and responsibilities, because the fabric of our society and the well-being of our people hinge on our ability to build a fair globalization. So as a matter of fact, it is not globalization that is the problem, it's the way we have implemented it. Now we need to move towards a fair globalization. And that's why that when the 10 universal principles of the Global Compact have been incorporated, calling for the protection of human rights, labor rights, environmental responsibility, and anti-corruption into strategies, policies, and procedures, and creating a culture of integrity, this is when we see that companies are not only upholding their basic responsibilities to people and planet, but they're also setting the stage for long-term success. Because as it has been said by many eminent speakers, is that if you invest in people, everybody wins. So the Global Compact has sought to move exactly in that direction. It has spread ambition on climate change through the 1.5-degree campaign. It has advanced gender equality through the Women's Empowerment Principle. It has promoted sustainable, ethical approach to the principle of responsible investment. It has also focused on nurturing the business leaders of tomorrow through the principle for responsible management education. So in short, the Global Compact has made immense strides in maintaining responsible business leadership practices around the world. And I really want to commend the significant achievement we have made across the years. But I call on your support and your commitment today, because we are facing the perfect storm that can set backwards the achievement of the SDGs. So we need to work together to weather these perfect storms and set a course towards businesses that benefit people and planet. So ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, since the inception of the 2030 Agenda, Indonesia has sought to position itself as a global leader and pioneer of the SDGs. And Indonesia has succeeded. Indonesia has made significant progress in many sectors, economic, social, environmental. We have seen how poverty, SDG 1, has fallen. We have seen how the child stunting and wasting has reduced, SDG 2. We have seen how indicators of primary health and education have improved, SDG 3 and 4. And we have also seen actually some progress across the range of performance, SDG 16. But you see, COVID came along. And the COVID pandemic has actually posed an extreme challenge to Indonesia and its people. And not only to Indonesia, but since today we are focusing on it, I would like to really put a spin on Indonesia. In particular, those who have been the most affected are, as always, those who are the farthest behind. And they have been put at even greater risk than where they were before, especially women, children, elderlies, and the informal workers. So, as I said, the pandemic risked the progress on the SDGs. Because I was telling you about the progress down on poverty, but now the fight against poverty has been disrupted. and the number of poor people has increased. I talked about the progress in SDG 3 on health, and of course it has been put under a lot of stress. But worse, we have seen some immunization services for children that have been disrupted too. Education, that I mentioned as SDG 4, which is a determinant of economic progress, has also been currently halted with a potential hike in the number of children dropping out of schools. And we know that this will have an impact for generations to come. Indonesia's excellent progress on SDG 8 for decent work, economic growth has also been impacted. 24 million people have worked shorter hours. 1.8 million people have been furloughed, and 2.5 million people have lost their job. And it is estimated that up to 8 million could lose their job. And of course, the pandemic has exacerbated all the underlying inequalities, which are referred to in the SDG 10, but especially gender inequality in SDG 5. So domestic violence actually has contributed 2/3 of all cases of violence during the pandemic. Talk about gender inequality. So the world, including Indonesia, really needs to take very bold steps if we want to go back on track towards the SDGs. So it means that the business sector, which is a very important player in this equation, needs to reflect and transform the business as usual into a more sustainable business that contributes to the SDGs. We need collective actions from business sector so that we can do a recovery through technology, innovation, investment. Actually, the business sector can also mitigate the impact on environment and social through its value and supply chains to ensure that no one is left behind. Businesses must give more, not less, because in reality, people today have less and less and less. They have less job, less money, less health, and less hope. So global solidarity is an imperative. It is the only way we can defeat the virus and recover better, differently. What we learned from the pandemic is that partnership is key to the solution. And we're already seeing a number of partnerships being developed to respond to the pandemic, to help Indonesia get back on track on the SDG. The UN in Indonesia has demonstrated this partnership through the implementation of several response plans during the pandemic. We had a multi-sector response plan where we have mobilized over $94 million from very generous contribution from international and domestic partners to respond to the crisis. With that, we have actually, thanks to these partnerships, we have been able to deliver, among others, 8 million households affected by COVID have received a cash grant for the basic needs, and it was in line with the government efforts on social assistance. More than 5 million PPEs for healthcare facility staff and community health workers have been distributed. Sexual reproductive health services through Indonesia Midwife Association in Greater Jakarta have been maintained. We have reached more than 200 million people with COVID-related messages. So you can see we have done a lot thanks to this partnership. So what started as a niche group of 44 business leaders, the compact now has blossomed into a global movement that encompasses more than 10,000 companies, 3,000 non-business stakeholders, and 68 local networks. And all these participants are championing the idea that business has a key role to play in creating a world and a global economy where people and planet alike can thrive. So we need to continue to join forces. As I said, partnerships are key to the solution, and the role of the private sector is becoming even more important than ever. So the timely achievement of the SDG that is at risk, we can do it. Yes, we can make it. But to do so, we need to place sustainability at the core of the global economic and financial system. And we need to put the people at its core as well. So beyond recovery should be focusing on people, as I said. That includes families, women, children, youth, people with disabilities, elderly, formal and informal workers, small and medium enterprises, informal sector, and other vulnerable people. Recovery should also ensure that the children who have been displaced by COVID have access to education, that other children who remain out of school all year round are reached. Rebuilding our system must also result in greater opportunity and equal outcome for women and men. Everything we do during and after this crisis must be with a strong focus on building more equal and inclusive societies that are more resilient in the face of pandemic, in the face of climate change, and in the face of so many other challenges. So we can incorporate sustainability from the fringes to the mainstream and unite in a business or a better world. But don't forget, business sector has a big role to play, so we count on you. I'm looking forward to hearing your experience, your ideas on the way forward, and I really thank you very much. I wish you all a very productive meeting. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you, Ms. Valerie, Julliand, for the strong and comprehensive speech. And we wish all the best for the UN representative, not just in Indonesia, but all over the world. Bapak dan Ibu, Presiden Joko Widodo resmi membentuk Tim Pemulihan Ekonomi dan Penanganan COVID-19 berdasarkan Peraturan Presiden Nomor 82 Tahun 2020. Tim ini dipimpin oleh Menteri BUMN Bapak Erick Thohir, yang akan mensinergikan sekaligus mengorkestrasikan seluruh kementerian dalam mengaplikasikan program-program terkait penanganan virus corona dan upaya pemulihan perekonomian di Indonesia. Bagaimanakah pihak pemerintah dalam memandang masalah pandemik ini dan rencana apakah yang telah, sedang, dan akan diambil untuk mengatasi serta mengantisipasi pandemik ini, dan juga usahanya dalam memulihkan keadaan kesehatan, sosial, dan juga perekonomian di Indonesia di masa mendatang. Bagaimana pula pola kerjasama yang dapat dilakukan oleh pemerintah, bisnis, dan CSO, dan serta akademia dalam menghadapi isu ini secara kolektif. Berikut ini kita akan mendengarkan paparan mewakili Menteri Badan Usaha Milik Negara sekaligus Ketua Tim Pemulihan Ekonomi Nasional. Kita sambut Wakil Menteri BUMN yang terhormat Bapak Kartika Wirjoatmojo dalam video berikut ini. Ya. Apakah videonya bisa diputar sekarang? Kami persilahkan. Bapak Ibu, kami mohon maaf karena masih terkendala dengan videonya. Kita masih menunggu teman-teman di sekretariat untuk memutar video yang telah dilakukan oleh Bapak Kartika Wirjoatmojo atau Pak Tiko. Beliau mewakili Bapak Erick Thohir yang saat ini memang sedang berhalangan dalam menjalankan tugas beliau ke luar negeri, dan kita harapkan videonya akan sesaat lagi. Bapak dan Ibu, kami informasikan juga bahwa telah tersedia juga beberapa fitur yang ada di Zoom webinar ini kepada Anda yang ingin menggunakan fitur dual language dapat mengunduhnya juga di link chat box sudah tersedia, dan pastinya Anda harus memastikan bahwa link Zoom webinarnya sudah dalam keadaan baik dan juga the latest version atau versi terakhir. Karena versi terakhir juga ada fitur dual language. Dan juga kami ingatkan kepada Anda bahwa acara ini juga terselenggara dan juga dapat dipantau melalui channel YouTube kami, IGCN, dan juga Anda juga dapat memberikan atau menanyakan kepada kami nanti di berbagai panel yang akan muncul sesaat lagi, panel-panel 1, panel kedua, dan panel ketiga. Jika Bapak dan Ibu mempunyai pertanyaan mengenai panel-panel tersebut, ataupun topik-topik yang telah tersedia, ya, Anda dapat melayangkan pertanyaan Anda untuk langsung ke chat box. Dan nanti akan dipandu oleh para moderator kami sehingga dapat ditanyakan langsung kepada narasumber yang bersangkutan. Ya, sepertinya ada terkendala technical issue. Apakah kita bisa langsung saja ke panel pertama? Alright. Baik. Kita akan langsung saja masuk ke videonya, kami persilakan.
Kartika Wiryaatmojo. I'm the Vice Minister of the Ministry of State-Owned Enterprise. It is with great honor for me to deliver the keynote remarks for the IGCN Forum. This theme is Building Stronger Partnership in a Decade of Actions. On this occasion, allow me to address our effort these following months to counter the effect of the pandemic. First, the government of Indonesia created the stimulus called PEN, Pemulihan Ekonomi Nasional, in which the government allocate 695 trillion rupiah to help boost the national economy. Until November 2020, we are grateful that the Special Task Force of PEN has distributed 401 trillion rupiah of stimulus through 6 major programs. Within MSOE, our mission is to become the agent of value creator and agent of development to generate a socio-economic contribution to our nation. Hence, we have been focusing on the effort of PEN distribution to the companies within MSOE. For example, the Himbara, 4 national bank owned by SOE, managed to restructure 3.9 million customers. We also put PEN into strategic infrastructure development, such as the Trans-Sumatra and Trans-Java toll road, which will enable business in the region to prosper. We also have distributed more than 400 billion rupiah subsidies for ultra-micro segment through companies such as BRI, PNM, and Pegadaian to create better opportunities for the people. We also think ahead for the future by placing PEN for investment for the creation of sovereign wealth fund, which will boost the value of the national companies and provide top quality investment and services for the people. All in all, we see PEN not only as of the social protection, but also for accelerating economic development after pandemic COVID. In line with our values, we also believe in sustainable development goals to eradicate poverty, provide affordable healthcare, and create accessible education and empower women. Hence, our SOE subsidiary, Mandiri Capital, joining forces with APEC Business Advisory Council, or ABAC, is currently raising $25 million funds to create Indonesia Impact Fund, which will invest in startups with a social impact. We are confident that this will also bring value addition to SOE business environment. Of course, moving forward, we need all the partnership that we can get. An IGCN thematic focus for creating job opportunities, especially for women, business ethics, and government, as well as sustainable finance research high with our mission to create development for our nation. We wish that we can maintain our relationship and communication and find a partnership that will bring benefits for both organizations. On behalf of all the government of Indonesia and Ministry of State-Owned Enterprises, I would like to express my gratitude for the opportunity to deliver this remark and look forward to seeing our actions in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Tiko, for delivering the message. Bapak dan Ibu, kita akan masuk dalam diskusi panel yang pertama yang bertajuk Scaling Up Business Impact for the Decade of Action. Sebuah diskusi yang pastinya sangat menarik tentang bagaimana peran bisnis menggairahkan kembali perekonomian yang sedang mundur dan dilanda resesi akibat pandemik secara global. Bagaimana peran SDGs Ambition yang sedang digalakkan oleh UNGC menjadi salah satu model bisnis dan diturunkan menjadi strategi perusahaan dalam menjalankan bisnisnya. Diskusi ini akan diisi oleh berbagai pihak dari UN Body, pemerintah, asosiasi, dan private sector. Dan diskusi ini akan dipandu oleh seorang jurnalis serta anchor dari Metro TV yang sudah tidak asing lagi. Kita langsung sambut Bapak Leonard Samosir. Kepada Bapak Leonard, kami persilakan.